Good morning, everyone. Yvonne here, and I am so excited to bring you another Mornings with Mayesh, April 2nd, 2019. Can you believe it, guys? Happy April. And I'm super excited because I have a very special guest with me, Alison Ellis. She's going to be coming on in a few minutes to talk about pricing questions. If you don't know Alison, she is from Real Flower Business, and she has a lot of real flower business knowledge that she wants to share with you guys. So super stoked. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes, though, to come on in. Say good morning. Good morning, Huntress Floral. Thank you for joining me. And Penny, you guys are amazing. Thank you literally for being here every time I go live. I love you guys. I feel like if you don't show up, I don't know what I'm going to do. And while everyone is coming in and saying good morning and letting me know where you guys are from, and also please share. Yes, that would be amazing. Thank you, Penny. Good morning, Haley. I'm just going to go through a few housekeeping things. All right, guys? So just keep on saying hello. If you have comments or questions, make sure you post those in the comments section. I'll be going through those as I'm talking with Alison and going over your questions. I'm sure we will have some time for that. So very exciting. That's like my favorite part, doing all the live back and forth. Also, if you aren't able to stay for the whole show, or you just can't make it at all and you're listening later, thank you. But we will be posting the replay on YouTube. The replay will be available immediately on Facebook. It takes like a couple minutes for it to all process. And then we also turn this show into a podcast. So if you are into podcasts and you like to listen and exercise or do work or design flowers, right? You can listen to us while you're designing flowers. That is available for you as well. And that will be up on our blog. So that will happen in a couple days. So keep a lookout for that. Also, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about our Mayesh Design Starflower Workshop Tour. So we have 3 more dates left, May, August, and November. And we're going to be hitting up Nashville, Austin, and Columbus. So very cool. With Sean Strong, we've gotten really great reviews. So I do surveys and things like that at the workshop because, you know, while we're there in person, you know, it's always, I think, scary for people to like give us real feedback face to face, right? So I always send out surveys so that way people can send out their honest opinions. And we definitely are getting high marks across the board. So I promise if you are on the fence, you're not sure what you want to do, take the jump, take the leap, invest in yourself, do something outside of your bubble, get to know some people, travel. Because I have a lot of people travel, build up your portfolio because you get amazing professional pictures from our amazing photographer, Nicole Cleary. And then obviously you get to work with Sean Strong, who is amazing. So we will post the link for that. So you can go and take a peek at that. Let's see, where do I do this at? Because I'm doing this on all my own today. There we go. I did it. Yay. All right. Also, I wanted to let you know about Keto. So if you are on the lives and you know that I was out of the country a couple of weeks ago, and it was literally the most amazing experience I've had in my life in a really long time, besides having my babies and all of that work life, right? And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys know about this. It's going to be published in Florist Review. Am I allowed to say that early? I don't know. I just did. So I'm super excited about that. And we're going to just be putting all the videos and photos out. It's not out yet. All of our professional things that Nicole did, and Logan from Tailwind Visuals. He's amazing too. Amazing storyteller. And I'm just excited to share this story with you guys. And also, I just want to make sure that you guys know about it because people were crying because they were so happy. And so we know a lot of our students that came to Keto with us are going to be going to the next one. We are working out those details as we speak. I will hopefully be publishing something soon. But if you want to be one of the first people to know about our next international workshop, be sure that you go and visit our website. If you go to the MDS workshop-keto link, and I'm going to post that for you as well, there will be a form so that way you can fill it out and be put on our wait list type of deal. And then I will send out an email to you guys after I send out an email to all of the people that went to Keto first. So they're number ones. And then our form will be number 2. And then I will let the world know about it after that. So cool. And Desi is here. Good morning, Desi. She's going to be helping me post links and things like that going forward. Thank you, Desi. Everyone say good morning to her. Hello. She's on the behind the scenes helping me stay sane while we're doing this live show so I don't hit any wrong buttons. Also, make sure you save the date for April 16th. That will be our next regular format show. I'll be back with Dave and Shelley answering your flower questions. All right, guys. Let's see. Who else is here? Good morning, Katie Lee. Good morning, Jennifer. Hi, guys. Shelley from Maine. Hi, Shelley. Shelley's one of the amazing people that went to Keto with us. Thank you for joining us, Shelley. I have Tracy from Greater Omaha, chapter of National Association of Catering and Events. Hi, Tracy. That's a mouthful, right? Good morning, Haley. And Amy from Grosse Pointe. Awesome. I love having you guys. So if you're just joining me, welcome, guys. I'm Yvonne Ashton here with Mornings with Mayesh. Today, I have a very special guest, Alison Ellis of Real Flower Business, who's going to be answering all your questions about flower pricing. Super, super exciting. If you don't know anything about Alison, she is a floral designer and an educator. She's huge in education. That's one of her passions. If you watch anything on her Facebook group, you can just see it. It oozes out of her pores. And she loves to teach florists how to embrace the business side of our business so that they can make more money and take control of their future, which I love. And obviously we need strong florists for a strong industry. She's been working in the floral industry for 24 years. It might be 25 now, I think, since, right? 25 years. After spending 8 years training in half a dozen flower shops, she's opened her own home-based floral business in 2002, which focuses mostly on weddings. So after the show, make sure you visit realflowerbusiness.com, and that will contain all of Alison's business tips and techniques. So let me bring her on. Good morning, Alison.
Hi, good morning. Can you see the top of my head?
I can.
All right.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much for having me this morning. I'm so psyched.
Yeah, I just realized, I kind of used my intro from the last time. I always kind of recycle things. And 25 years is a big deal, though. Congratulations.
It is. I started when I was 2, and I've been doing it ever since.
Awesome. There are a lot of people that start when they're 2. My husband used to ride his big wheels through, flower wholesaler. So
yeah, I started when I was 16 actually, and never left. It was really something that I fell in love with right away. And I feel like there's sort of 2 types of florists out there. There's the florist who just loves flowers so much, and then there are the florists who are business oriented and they could do any business. It doesn't really matter to them what type of business. I'm definitely the florist at heart kind of floral designer. That's who I am.
I love it. I love it. So let's kick things off with just a really easy question and just tell us what you've been up to in the past year, because that's the last time you were on the show.
I know. I like it. We should do an April. It's our anniversary show.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have I been up to in the past year? I was like, oh, that's kind of a big question. Time flies by so fast, but I took a couple notes. What I've been up to is weddings, right?
Good.
Weddings. Teaching. I was honored to teach at a chapel designer workshop last May, and then I was invited to teach down in Rhode Island in December. So while I do all my teaching online, it was so exciting to get to have that interaction in person. So that's what I have my sights on. I'd love to do some more of that. But I've been doing some one-on-one coaching and strategy sessions with florists who were interested in taking a course but didn't know what course. So I was doing these free strategy sessions where we were talking for a half hour about their business and getting them into the right course. And that was working out so well, because then it's not just me being here's my website where I sell stuff for florists. It's what do you need and how can I help you? And that, it helps focus you in. You know this as someone who specializes in marketing. It's about the customer. And so the more we talk to the customer, the clearer we are. So I really feel like I spent the last year talking to my customers, and figuring out what they really needed from me, and then making more freebies and more resources for them. Lots of content creation.
I love it.
Blogging,
Yes. And that's my jam. I love all the content that you create. It's so powerful for everyone.
so appreciate that, because it's really, you know, you put it out there and you don't, as you know, you don't always hear how many people are seeing it and liking it. They look at it, but they don't acknowledge it.
Right.
So it's always so appreciated when someone does acknowledge. Like, even I'm going to call out Dee. She's on this live chat. I can see her over here on my Facebook. Dee, thank you so much for sending me a message the other day. She's like, your font is too small in your emails. Boom. I was like, you know what? You're right. You know, like little things like that.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yes. Yes.
So I've been increasing the font in my emails for the past week.
That's awesome. I know. I feel like I don't, with our content, you know, I can tell like when we do downloads, like the gated content and stuff, like what's popular and things like that, just based off that. But our regular content, it is sometimes difficult. It's not always a science like everyone kind of makes it seem like. It really isn't. But I do find that anything that's controversial, we always hear from people. So it's kind of fun to do things like that on purpose. Like if we know we're going to get like riled up about it, we're like, we're going to hear from people.
Yep. Get them out of their seats. Yeah. It's true, because you can create something like, I'll create something like, this is so good. People are going to love this. And then it's like kind of crickety. And then you create something just like on a whim. And, you know, like I created something, a post a few weeks ago or January. It's been shared like 400 times. I'm like, what's happening here? That never happens, you know?
Right.
So
yeah,
you just never can tell. That's why we just do what we can, do our work, you know?
Exactly. I love it. All right. So we're going to start off with our first question from the Wildflower AZ. These are questions that we sourced from our Instagram question post story, which is always fun.
Yes.
And they want to know, should we set a minimum on weddings? I've done both ways.
That's always a really, really valid question from any floral designer. And the real honest answer is it depends, right? So it depends on a lot of things. Where you are in your business, for example. If you're busy enough where you can turn customers away, setting a minimum is a good strategy, because if you're getting too many inquiries coming in and you're finding you have a lot of like lower budget clients that are trying to get in the door, setting a minimum helps weed out the people that are not a good fit and set that bar, right? Like you must be this tall to ride the ride, you know?
Right.
And that's just what it comes down to. Like, this is my standard of the work that I do. And that can work really well for people. Then you have to decide, do I publish my minimum on my website, right? So there are a lot of things that go into not just setting the minimum, but then how do we communicate that minimum to the potential customer? So I like to do everything, like I was just saying, like customized. I think it's really important to look at the individual. So I've been in business for 17 years on my own, right? So I'm entering my 18th season. So what did I do last year? I finished season 17 of my business, which is like snaps, right? And what I find interesting, because I have my Facebook group, you know, there's about 7,000 florists in there right now from all around the world. And I asked 2 questions just before you get in, like, you know, what's your ability level? Like, are you aspiring, or have you been doing this? And sometimes people have been florists for 40 years, right? Or they've been florists and maybe they've been florists for 5 years, right? And it's so fascinating to me to see how people will identify themselves. I've been in business for 40 years and I'd say I'm aspiring, right? Versus someone who's like, I've been in business for 3 years, I'd say I'm experienced.
Right.
And that is often how it goes. The longer you've been in business, the more humble you can be about how much more you have to learn. Mm-hmm. And the newer you are, when you're in business for 3 years or 5 years, you're like, look, I've been in business for 5 years. And let me tell you everything that you need to do. You haven't been tested in 5 years yet. You know, like 5 years is great. And that is like, you know, it's a hump in your business where like, if you make it to your 5 in your business, like you should be celebrating and tooting your own horn that like, you've been in business for 5 years, you know, 3 to 5 years is that threshold. But when you're in business for 5 years, your minimum is going to be different, or your thought process on the minimum is going to be different than someone who's been in business for 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. And again, it's going to depend, right? The person who's been in business for 40 years may have 40 years, may have a really strict minimum, or they may have no minimum at all, right? So it's based on your experience and what your market can bear. So if you're in an area, for example, where you do tons of high-end weddings, having a $5,000 minimum might be just perfect for you. Publishing it on your website might make perfect sense. But for me personally, where I am, I'm in Vermont. We do destination weddings mostly, meaning people come here. I don't travel. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like, they come to me. So they come here, and their budget could be like a huge gap. Like I have some weddings that are $2,500, really small weddings, nothing fancy. And then I have an $8,000 wedding in June that's like all the bells and whistles and more. Right. So if I put on my website, I have a $3,000 minimum. I'm missing out on that $2,500 super sweet gig that I booked, right? Mm-hmm. And for my $8,000 customer, they might be thinking, is this $3,000 florist going to get what I'm looking for here? So when I used to publish my minimum on my website, which I did for years, finally, you have to get brave. Like there's a moment where you're brave and you're like, I'm doing it. I'm setting a minimum. That's it. I'm doing it. And it takes bravery, and you have to talk yourself into it, right? You have to talk yourself into like, I'm going to set the minimum. I'm really going to do it. I'm really going to tell them I'm going to do it now. Here I go. I'm hitting publish. And now my website says I have a $1,500 minimum, right? That was my first minimum. Then it went up to like $3,500 or something, right? So finally got to a point where my $3,500 minimum was significantly below the average spend that people, when they made a purchase with me, right? So here I have on my website $3,500 minimum, but my average sales higher than that. Why is my minimum $3,500? So it was a moment of reckoning, of realizing this is arbitrary. This number does not pertain to you, the person inquiring to me. This is just a number I'm throwing out there. Just throw it to the wall and see if it sticks, right? So there's a change. There's an ebb and flow in business. So sometimes you should have an idea. I always put it this way. If you don't have a set minimum, like we don't leave the door for less than $3,500, at least have minimums on each of your itemized pieces. So your bridal bouquets start at X. Your centerpieces start at X. Your, installation start at X. So that at least when you're putting together the pieces and presenting a budget to somebody, there's a rhyme or reason for why they should be expecting to spend this minimum. And the way I do it is I present it as a custom minimum. I say, for your event, this is the minimum that would be requested. And one of the smartest things I do, if I do say so myself, is I list that minimum on every single client's proposal, right in the payment terms. So before they accept the proposal, before we do anything, they see right there, this is what the minimum is for your event. So they know that they can't fall below that. They can lose 3 bridesmaids, but you still have a $4,000 minimum, right? You can have half as many guests, but you still have to have a $4,000 minimum for me to block off my day or my weekend for you. Right. So we have to set our rules, and then we have to change the rules. And that's my really, really long answer to, should you set a minimum?
That is great. And I actually love the idea of a custom minimum. And honestly, for me personally, I get really frustrated when I'm on websites and I'm just trying to figure out what I like and don't like, but then I have no idea how much anything costs. I get frustrated, especially when it's like my first time dealing with something and I'm trying to get information and everyone has it all blocked and you got to call, and I don't like talking to people, so I don't want to call you. I just want to figure things out on my own first. Yeah. So I think that's a really great way to kind of get started and have like a happy medium and not, scare too many people off, but still give them enough information. I think that's really cool.
Still set the boundary. There's still a minimum. And it's not like I'm just saying to them, so for example, I might send out a quote to somebody for $8,000, but only request a $4,000 minimum. Because I don't really need them to spend $8,000. I just need them to be in it with me for this much, And if they want to spend more than that, great. But then there are other times where I might send out a quote for $3,000 and the minimum is $3,000. Like, I'm not falling below this. So it just makes it really clear. It makes the communication clear. And, it's that custom interaction. They feel my value because they see that they get an email from me. Usually we have a conversation, not always though, right? Because that inquiry form that they send to me, I do my vetting through that. So I can tell, do I need to present my minimum to this person before we go any further? Or are there enough clues in everything that they've answered here that I can tell they're going to spend what I need to make this worthwhile and just hop right to the phone consultation? But we're not meeting in person. They're not taking a ton of my time before an absolute minimum purchase is established. Always.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Karen, MRK7. She wants to know, do you price anything differently with a hand tied versus a vase arrangement? I'm thinking she's probably trying to get at, like, do you price it differently based off of the labor intensiveness of whatever you're designing?
I do. There are two things that make a hand tied bouquet versus a vase arrangement different. When I read that question, when you sent it ahead of time, I was thinking, does she mean like a hand tied bouquet, like a bridal bouquet, or does she mean like a wrap, like in a shop? So let me answer both things just in case. So in a shop, when I worked in flower shops, your flowers are all marked up in the cooler, right? Like you have your retail price on everything. So we would just wrap them, and there was not an additional design fee added to just wrap up flowers for cash and carry, right? If you're doing a vase arrangement, you're obviously going to charge for your flowers. You're going to add a design fee for your time, and then you're going to add the cost of the vase. Now, some people do this different ways, but the way I do it and the way I teach it in my pricing course, Flower Map, is that we calculate how many stems, we add our design fee, and then the vase goes on after that. So I'm not adding a design fee to the vase, right? That's just how I was taught. I think that's how most florists do it, but it's not how every florist does it, but that's how I do it. If I'm making a hand-tied bouquet for a wedding, usually I charge a higher design fee for that. A lot of times I'll just have a straight fee of like $100, and that's my fee for the time it takes to think about your bouquet, order the flowers for your bouquet, pull the flowers for your bouquet, clean the flowers for the bouquet, actually put it together, wrap it, put it in the cooler, take it out of the cooler, admire it, put it back in the cooler, rework it possibly, add the ribbon to it, deliver it. All of that, that's what I do. And so yeah, that's it. And then obviously you don't have to add the cost of the vase onto it. So that's the difference.
Great. Our next question is, and I feel like you kind of touched on this, it's from Lovely Human 14. They want to know, what is the best way to start and then change your pricing as your business grows?
It really is about honing in on who you serve, right? So do you like cash and carry? Do you like when people come to you and just pick up their stuff and bring it themselves? Do you like when people buy in bulk and do DIY stuff? Or do you have a full service event business where, service is really what you're selling, right? We sell flowers, but it's the service that we should be focusing on. That's the thing that they can only get from you and that they can't get from anybody else. So I think you should always give yourself a pay increase, not every year, even though that would be ideal, because we can't feasibly do that, right? We can't give ourselves, especially as business owners, small business owners, a pay increase every year. But we should try. It's always worth it. Always worth the effort to see, like, how can I bring in more money? Raise my delivery fee a little bit. You could increase your design fee if you're not already feeling kind of like you're capped out at charging as much as you can on your arrangements. You can increase your markups. Like, there are different ways where you can, steal a little bit more of that profit for yourself instead of putting it into like your cost of goods. But by providing better service, by being better, right? That's really how we charge more, because we actually are better. Like, I'm way better in year 18 in my business than I was in year 5, right? There is a vast amount of experience between those 13 years, So that's really what it comes down to, is who do you want to serve? What do they need from you? How do you do that expertly so that you can command a higher price?
Great. Love it. All right. On to our next question from, this is going to be hard to pronounce, Pierre Dome Designs, I think. They want to know, how do you make sure you're not undercharging your clients?
So a lot of people don't necessarily undercharge, but they overfill. So that's semantics, really, but that is what happens, is they charge enough. And this is one of my lines. This is one of my marketing lines. It doesn't matter what you charge if you overbuy, right? It's truth, and it's part of my flower math spiel. You could charge somebody $1,000 for a centerpiece, but if you spend $800 to fill it, you're losing money, right? So that's what it really comes down to, is knowing your pricing formula. So florists have industry standards on our pricing. For the most part, florists who have learned from other florists all follow these same pricing models. Okay. So if you're not sure truly how to know if you're undercharging your client, Flower Math is my course that teaches you how to do that. Because it's not easy to give you an exact answer on how do you know. Here's one way. Are you charging a 3 times markup or a 4 times markup on your flowers? Are you adding a design fee? Are you charging a 2 or 2.5 times markup on your supplies? That's your basis for knowing if you're undercharging. But it's really about how much you buy. And that's what I always say, keep your wholesale orders tight and right, and make sure that you fill your orders to value, right? Because that's the flip side. I love to talk about pricing. I love to talk about maximizing your profit, right? But providing value to the client is still of utmost importance. I will sit and I will just take out my calculator, which is really my phone, and enter in every single stem and say, is this filled to value? Because having that peace of mind, right, that we're delivering something and that we know it's to value is so essential. There is nothing worse than when you are delivering your, heart and soul, i.e. the flowers you just made, right, to someone's big event, and you feel like, I don't know if this is to value. Then you have a lack of confidence, and there's just this overall dread that you feel, because you're like, I just don't know. What if they say this isn't big enough? What am I going to say back? If I show up and someone says, oh, that doesn't look like a $125 centerpiece, I can just say, it is, because I've done the math. It's just that easy, right? So undercharging your clients is usually a result of overfilling. That's usually what happens.
That's great advice, and it's good things to know. Yeah, you definitely don't want to overfill and overstuff. And then you're just also making more work for yourself too. So not only are you using more product, but you're spending more time usually then doing the design as well.
Yes. And I have a video. It's one of my more viewed videos. It's called How a Single Stem Can Derail Your Floral Business. And it really is about how I break it down for you. If you just add 1 extra rose to your arrangements over the course of a week, how that adds up over the course of a month, year, and then I bring it out to 3 and 5 years for you. It's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table when you overfill orders. So do not take this lightly. I always say I had my best worst boss I ever had was this guy, Tom. And he really trained us about how important it is to not overfill orders. He was very thoughtful and deliberate in teaching us the why behind it so that we could understand it's integral to the health of the business overall that we don't do this. It's not about just making it pretty this time and getting it out the door. It's about sustaining the business, Yeah,
exactly. Good stuff.
Cool.
Our next question is from Atlas Findings. They would like to know, do you mark up high-end flowers like peonies the same as you do carnations to keep your margins? If you do, how do you use peonies and ranunculus in everyday arrangements? Sparingly?
The answer is just yes. Yes, you mark them up the same. Unless there's an actual legitimate reason why you're not, and you would have to justify it to me. I don't know what that would be. If the bride, let me just tangent here for a second. Someone shared something in my group the other day about doing garlands on a table for someone. I think this was just yesterday, actually. And she said, is this enough what I'm charging per foot? And, it just seems like a lot. And when I add it up times her 19 tables, right. Hearing me out there, Flowers, 19 tables, right? it comes out to be this much. And I mean, how am I going to tell her that? And that's what it comes down to. It's not our job to make what they want cheap. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So someone else was just saying, hey, can I get peonies in October? You can try to source that. But the first thing I'm doing is saying to my client, do you have $25 a stem to spend on peonies? Are you willing to spend, like, this is where if I had a $3,500 minimum, I would say, okay, do you have a $5,000 budget for your flowers? Because you're not just getting 10 stems of those peonies. You're going to have a minimum. They're going to get shipped. So that goes into the cost too. So yeah, if they want something expensive, it's expensive, and it's not our job to make it not expensive. I was just saying to Yvonne, this is my new office. We just added an addition. Not at any point did someone say to me, like, I was picking out a stuff for the shower. He never said to me, would you like this really expensive thing? But I'm feeling really bad that I have how much it costs. Please, okay, please. We are in a unique situation where when people are not confident about their pricing, it undermines everything we do, right? And there's no reason for us to be not clear about our pricing. So yeah, if you want a peony in October, it's going to be at least $25 a stem. And you're going to have to buy at least, let's just say the bride's got to buy at least 30 stems of them.
Right.
Maybe even more. I don't know. I'm totally making this up, obviously. But does she have that? So before I worry about, can I get it? Do you have the money for this?
I love it.
Right?
Preach.
That's it.
Preach.
Yes. I think the answer is exactly, again, she said it herself. You use them sparingly. I love seeing, we all see this. And I know the real florists in the world, we see this. You see these beautiful arrangements, right? Instagram, everywhere. Gorgeous. Look at all those beautiful flowers. If you add them up, you are looking at $500 compote bowls on Instagram. And you know this, man.
Yeah.
You know this. So let's just be clear. Like, these flowers are beautiful, but some things are not the way everyday florists do business. Ranunculus was not in a flower shop every single day when I worked in flower shops, King Protea weren't there every single time. They're there sometimes. You rotate them out, but you have to be realistic. Maybe you only use peonies in June and, or whenever they're in season where you are. We have to just be realistic that if your customer, again, this comes down to your ideal customer, if your customer can afford it, then you can sell it, right? But it is all about who you sell to. That is what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also feel like it's a little bit of like merchandising though too. I feel like people don't realize how much things cost. And like if you're talking about like an everyday florist, if you put all of your kind of cheaper types of designs like on the front page or all of that, and then that's kind of all they see.
Yeah.
They don't realize that they could buy this really beautiful $300 arrangement that they see on Instagram, and they know their girlfriend or wife is going to friggin' just go bananas over,
Well, or also, that idea that like the King Protea, for example, being so expensive.
Right.
It's expensive, but it also lasts, right? So that's always part of our hurdle that we have to get over is flowers are so expensive and they don't last. Well, food is expensive and it doesn't last, right? Wine is expensive and it doesn't last. But there are people who still buy it, right?
Right.
And value it. So I really like to try to preach to florists that it's not your job to convert people, although of course we want as many people to buy flowers as possible. It's your job to find the people who already value what you do and sell to them.
Yeah. And just side note, I just feel like that's growing too. I see just flowers everywhere, just in the fashion shows and in photo shoots. And, I feel like it's really just more mainstream than it was before. I feel like that. I don't know if it's just in my little bubble.
Well, flowers are so important in our lives. And we know that as florists, but we also can lose sight of that sometimes. Like, as a predominantly wedding related florist, right? Like, I know my clients. I know what they're looking for. I love when I know that I'm hitting it out of the park. Like, this is exactly what they want. But when you're a florist who has like a brick and mortar shop and you're doing funeral arrangements and you're sending baby arrangements and you're doing the work of florists, right? You are bringing your community together. You're a key element of your community. You know, this work is important to people, and it's really, 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 really something you can't lose sight of, that what you do is special and unique. I think florists can very often take your own talents for granted, right? You're like, oh, that's nothing. That's just a dozen roses in a thing. Or, oh, that's just a little hand tie. I just threw that together. Oh, it's no big deal. You're bringing joy to people. That is a big deal, you know?
Yeah. Love it. So good.
Own it.
Own it. All right. Our next question. And these next few questions I've kind of pulled from just things that people have sent us in the past. So not from anyone in particular. Yes, this question is, should you charge a different markup on rentals versus vases versus labor? And I think you touched on that very quickly at the beginning.
Yeah, if anybody's not sure about like what you should be charging on these things, it's time to get clear. Yeah. I'm gonna just do a quick little pitch on my flower math for a second, because one thing that I hear a lot from florists is, oh, it's expensive. All right, my course is $499. It's very interesting to me, because if you run a business, and I say this with peace and love, you should have $500 to invest in your business, okay? And that's just for real. If you aren't making money in your business, $500 is going to teach you how to make money in your business should not scare you, okay? So if you are one of those people who's like, what should I charge for rentals? Flower Math has every single answer for you, walks you through it. There are videos, and I am here. Like, I am a real life person. If you take Flower Math and you have a question, you shoot me an email. I reply, I'll get on the phone with you, like whatever. I don't want you to be alone in your pricing journey, but it is easy, right? Like, these are very easy to follow formulas, and you should not be afraid, one, to find out that you have been leaving money on the table all these years. Okay. Because I know that is a hesitation people have. They're like, I don't want to know.
Right.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Thing. Yeah.
You do want to know. You want to know. You want to fix it right now. And I have so many people who say, like, in one wedding, they made back that $500. Okay. So you got to think about the long term. You can't be so short term with like what I'm spending. And like, look, I'm super cheap. One thing florists have in common, we are super cheap. We are super cheap people. We don't want to spend money on things that we don't have to. That's one of the things I love about us. But, you know, if you're not sure how to do your markups, I was going to say no reason, but I'm going to say this. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for, I'm figuring this out on my own. I'm just doing it like this. There's no, oh, I'm new, so I don't charge industry standard. No. Now, whether you're new or you're old, doesn't matter. You should be on par with this range. Not because you're the best florist and so you deserve the highest price when you're just starting out, but because you're a person who deserves to get paid. And there's a way to do this that you don't have to figure out on your own. And you can, even if you have to work your second job, right, while you have your floral side hustle, you should maximize your profits, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. So, sorry, that's much spiel. I don't think anybody should be unsure about pricing. That's why I made Flower Math, right? I want you to know how to do it.
Yeah. And so we have the link up here.
Oh, thanks. That's mighty kind of you.
Isn't that cool? And we'll post it in the comments as well. So
if anybody has questions on the course before buying, like, don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm a real person.
Yeah. And I mean, check it out. And just kind of what Alison was saying too, if you are a new flower business and you're undercutting everyone, you know, I understand doing a couple here and there just to kind of get started, right? I understand that mentality a little bit, you know, it's a little bit scary, but it is a business and you want to make money, and it's just healthier for everyone too that's involved when you're charging what you need to be charging. So,
well, and it's, you know, what I found I've been doing this for like little over 3 years now. And what's so interesting to me is how many people are like accidental florists. They didn't plan to be a florist. They just found out they were good. Like, just through one thing or another, they did an event for a sibling or a friend. And then all of a sudden people started asking them. And all of a sudden they're running a business that they had no intention of running, right? So That's why, like, that's what my real flower business stuff is all about. Like, if you're not sure, there's no reason for that.
Exactly. Good. So check out Flower Math on realflowerbusiness.com. All right. Another question that we get a lot is about how do you price out the large designs like installations and arches and the giant 8-foot flower hoops? How do you figure out the pricing for that?
So that is where it gets to be, that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
When it's easy to price a bouquet. It's easy to price a centerpiece. You get an idea. Do they want a small centerpiece? Do they want a big centerpiece? Do they want peonies and ranunculus? Or do they just want it to be a $75 centerpiece or a $50 centerpiece? What are the parameters of this? But when you don't have parameters, when you have hoist that on the ceiling, make me a big hoop, right? You got to get to doing a little bit of imagining. That's when you're pulling out a ruler, you're calling your best floral friend, or you're hopping in my Facebook group or somewhere and saying, hey, I have to do this. How do I figure this out? How do I figure out how many feet of garland I need, or who's going to hoist this thing up, right? Some things are, I like to follow Marie Forleo. I don't know if you follow Marie Forleo, but she's like business guru. She says everything is figure outable, right? And it's so true in floristry. Like, we are, as my dear friend Teresa said many years ago, we are the original cob jobbers. We can figure something out. Yep. If you need to make a Mickey Mouse out of carnations, you figure out how to do it, right? Like, that's what we're expert at. So sometimes you need to just ask people who've already done it, right? Yeah. Sometimes you need to just go to somebody's Instagram where you saw that thing and say, hey, can you give me an idea of how you did this? So, like, for example, I was watching the video you shared yesterday with Sean, like doing that big install. Right. That's something where it's about perceived value, right? You could say I could tell you that's $5,000, or I could tell you it's $1,500. It's just a matter of, like, what's the customer willing to spend and how much work are you putting into it? So that's really what it comes down to, is like, really just, you have to figure, you have to do a little imagining. Sometimes you need to figure out, well, what if there's just 1 foot of this? How much would 1 foot cost? And then multiply it by there. The very first time I did a hanging installation, I can remember just how long it took me to figure out how much I was going to charge for it. And I was pretty much spot on with it, as usual. Yeah. I was relieved, right, that I was pretty much spot on with it. But it helped me, again, like, with setting a minimum. Like, I'm not hanging stuff from the ceiling for less than like $1,500. I'm just really not. Right. By the time I get my ladder and the extra trips or the extra time and the whatever, like, you got to have $1,500 for me to be doing all that. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of, I don't know how incredibly helpful that is, or if it's just like solidifying, okay, that's how I work things out too. But once you do it, then you can jump off from there. So maybe the first time you make your 8-foot hoop, you lose on it. Maybe you didn't price it right, but you learn some lessons. And, sometimes you have to be brave and not be afraid to learn some lessons,
Yeah. But kind of using the formula we were just saying, like pricing out the foot and then thinking about the time it's going to take you. And Sean mentioned when we were talking, like, sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to figure out how to use the scissor lift if it's like really high up, and,
all that time
together.
The bodies that will be there, the product that will be there, and also the takedown. Okay. So that's part of why 1,500 is my minimum. What goes up must come down, right? So if I'm putting this up, I have to take it down. And so you have to be willing to spend what it costs to take it down. You can't be like, oh yeah, I like that hanging thing for $1,000, but I don't have the 500 for the breakdown. No, it's 1,500 because it includes that, Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Thank you. So now I think it's time for some audience questions, and I see a few in here. So let me start with D first. She asked, is it best to mingle in the delivery setup fee into the overall cost of flowers and the total cost? People hate delivery fees. I blame it on Amazon.
That's great. I think that also comes down to, like, I personally itemize everything. So you can see delivery, you can see breakdown. But if you feel like, all right, I'm going to go back to a question from before too about, like, when do you change, right? Like that ebb and flow. If Amazon is making people think delivery should be free, then yeah, maybe start building it in. And maybe you have free delivery because you've already accounted for it, right? Delivery is included. Don't call it free delivery because that would be a lie, but delivery is included because you have accounted for it already. You know, that could be a way you deal with that. But one way I really do handle it is by calling it delivery and installation, because I'm not just showing up with a box and dropping it. I mean, unless you're doing like daily deliveries, then yeah, it's delivery, right?
Right.
But making sure they understand, again, the service that they're getting. It's about selling the service. I'm not just dropping this and running.
Good stuff. All right. It's not pricing related from Haley. Allison, not pricing related, but I'm now living in a destination wedding location. How do you market? Local marketing is only so effective when the brides don't live here. Very great point.
It's like, if there was an easy answer to that question, I would just bottle it and sell it. I'll tell you, you know, that question can really just be transformed to any, how do I get anybody to find me? Right. And it really comes down to what you're putting out there on your blog, what you're putting out there on your website, what you're tagging in your photos, how you're labeling things on the back end of your website. That's how people are going to find you. If you want to know how people find me for my destination weddings, they find me through organic searches because I do the hard work of blogging and maintaining a website. But they find me through referrals. So when you're getting established, you know, it takes some time to get to the point where people are referring you in your new area that you just moved to, but it'll happen. So it's just, you just have to do the hard work. And I would blog as much as possible about where you are and what you do and who your customers are. So when they get to your website, they see it, they see you, but more than that, they see themselves. They see, oh, this is for me. That's what we're aiming for.
That's my jam. Yeah. Content marketing is so important. And your blog, and the blog and the website. So it is. It's a lot of hard work. You know, it's a hard work, and then there's a lot of pressure to kind of keep up because you need to be consistent about it. But it's well worth the work. And the SEO and just the power behind that. I mean, this is real stuff, guys. It's not just fluff. It's real hardcore stuff. And then you own that. That's the thing about social media. I think of social media as just like a vehicle to get my content out into the world. You know, it can't just be pretty pictures all the time. It needs it to be a little bit more substance than that. Yeah. And then that just keeps on feeding your funnel. And then you keep on building up a library. I mean, I don't even know how many videos we have now on YouTube, but you know, it's just funny because, you know, we monetize some of our videos. This is a little side thing, but it's been in my brain. So we monetize our videos, and before I would make maybe $100 in a year, you know, when we first started, nothing. I mean, it's still not a whole lot, but now we're up to like, you know, almost a few hundred a month. So again, it's not a lot of money, nothing to get excited about, but it just shows, the power of the content, and then just builds up and it builds up and it builds up. Yeah. And we have people coming into our funnel all of the time because of our content and where we are. But it's not just about the social media. It's about the content that you're creating that you share with people.
And being of value, providing valuable content, right? Like, what do your customers need to know about getting married in your area, Haley? Like, what do they need to know that you can educate them on? I was just talking about this in, I have a group where I do sort of like some group coaching in my course, The Art of Good Business, where we talk about marketing and branding and just sort of like running your business from your heart. And I was just talking to them this month. We do a monthly live stream. So in March, I was saying, like, make your epic freebie. You know, like, what's the thing that people want to know that you can give them for free so that they can see you as an expert and then choose you, you know? That's the idea.
Yeah, for free in exchange for some information, you know, so that way, again, you're feeding your funnel. You don't want to just throw it out there, but have it, you know, for something that you spend a lot of time on creating. Like all of our product guides, for example, they're all gated. We do a lot of free content tons of it. But we have things that it takes us time to put together, and we gate those things, and that way we can also see what people like and don't like, and we can see when they download it, and
how long they watch, what they care about.
Yeah. So it's all great. I love this kind of stuff. So thank you for the marketing question. All right. So the next question is from Sadie. She wants to know, how are you competing with new businesses undercutting pricing? I'm a full service event florist in a market where a number of newer florists are popping up and undercutting everything and taking over the market. It's like the bane of a lot of people's existence.
It is. I'm switching drinks. I'm switching to coffee for this one, Sadie. Sexy Sadie. Let's see. This is not an easy one, and there are a couple of reasons why. I feel like because you're so right. Like, this is a question that is like so dominant right now.
Yep.
What do you mean by underpricing or undercutting, right? So how do we know that they're undercutting and not just providing less? Okay. So I'll wait for the oohs and the ahs. I can feel them, right? Because that's really what it comes down to. So let me give you a little story of a wedding I did a couple of years ago. Okay. So she was really nice. She had a cha-ching. I think I need to do this like 10 times. Both hands. Cha-ching.
Make it rain.
Cha-ching dress. Okay. And I gave her a very fair, not at all over the top quote for what she wanted. And she came back and she was like, love it, book it, done, right? Then 2 days later, the check had already arrived, so maybe it was 3 or 4 days later. She writes back and says, hey, I just got a quote from another florist. Okay, so first of all, time is of the essence, okay? So time is going to be on your side. A call was trying to come through. The nerve of some people.
I was wondering what happened. I was like, uh-oh. And then my light flickered for a second too. So that made me super nervous. All right.
Sorry about that. So, when push comes to shove here, getting that proposal out fast is why she wrote back to me, because she had to wait 4 more days to even get another proposal from somebody else. Okay. So I'm winning at life with promptness. Then she has this moment of, why is this one cheaper? So she asks me. So I could easily be like, what? Right? But instead I just said, hey, totally get that. And my response to her was, I don't know why that proposal is cheaper. They might be providing less. They might be using different flowers. They might not be as good as me. Right. I don't know. So I can't say why it will be cheaper. But I haven't cashed your check yet. So if you want to change your mind, let me know by tomorrow at 5. And, we can cancel this contract. And she wrote back within probably about 15 minutes and said, okay, let's go forward. Book it. Like, we're done. I totally trust you. So trust is the thing. Building trust, getting them to see your value and experience your value. And if there's somebody that comes into my market and they're pricing less than me, if I'm losing weddings to them, it's because the person didn't feel a connection with me. Because people will choose me, even though I'm more expensive, over and over and over again for years and years and years. Again, like, it's not my 5th or 6th year in business. I've done this. Yeah. This is my 18th season. I've been around this, been around the sun 17 times already with my business, right? So there's an ebb and flow, and there are times when things change. There are times when your whole customer attitude shifts, right? Like, you got to be ready for whatever that shift is going to be. And so let them see your value, and don't be afraid to say to them, oh, this person came in much cheaper, and say, I can't imagine what they'll be providing. What's important is that you get the quality that you want. Yeah. We have to always put that little, here's one of my little tricky things I do. So you may know I also sell email templates where I tell florists, like, how you can present the minimum if you're not, because that's the tricky thing. You can set a minimum, but then how do you say it, right?
Yes.
So I teach florists how to do that in my templates. But, you know, one of the things I like to do is if someone's like, oh, I, you know, found someone else, right? Because I don't book every wedding, obviously, that I did. I say, as long as you found someone that you trust to execute your vision. I've had people turn around and be like, actually, you know what? Because that's at the end of the day, what you want to send home, Sadie, to these people is, as long as you're confident that you're going to get what you expect, that is what matters. And let them go, am I going to get what I expect?
Yeah. And
let
again,
them have to answer that.
Yeah, it's, and then that just, you know, goes back to people are dealing with people and relationships and just building that trust from the very beginning. So that way they don't have to question it as much. They're like, you know what? I trust you. I know you're going to do an amazing job. This is obviously once in a lifetime type of deal, especially when you're dealing with weddings. So yeah, that part is so key. Not just pricing, for sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Love it. All right. I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this one is from Penny. She wants to know, have you ever budgeted for networking with fellow vendors, like a show? Like, do you do budgeting, pricing different for that? Is that what you mean, Penny, I think?
Have you ever budgeted for networking with fellow vendors? You mean like everybody getting together and getting a booth or something at a show, something like that? I haven't, but I would. I mean, you know, I think if you have a group or cohort or a posse or an entourage of good people, and there's an opportunity where your ideal customers are going to be someplace, sure, why not? You know, the closest thing I could say to that would be like budgeting for a photo shoot, you know, something like that. When it comes to networking, I think, you know, you have to just know, again, like, where do your clients find you? You know, like, should you make friends with the photographer? Should you be at the bridal show? Should you be investing that money in your website, in a small little update or tweak or upgrade so that it's more snappy and snazzy, you know? But sure, why not?
Good. That's easy.
Yeah, what? You got any more over there or no?
I'm looking through. I see something about stuff and notice, but that's not a good one for this, I don't think.
The dreaded Stephanotis.
No, Lori, we'll answer that on our next show. How about that? Let me see. Oh, this isn't a question. I love this. Phoebe says, Alison is the real deal. Love this woman.
Thanks, Phoebe. Phoebe is awesome. Phoebe has a great pop-up group actually on Facebook she has a Facebook group on doing pop-up shop. So if anybody out there is like going to do a Mother's Day pop-up or something like that, you can look her up. Phoebe,
post your link so that way people can find you.
I should know the name of it. It's like Popping Up with Phoebe or something like that.
Popping Up with Phoebe. I'll try and find it too so that I can put it in the show notes. I love it. Great. Good stuff. So is there anything else, Alison, that you wanted to share with our viewers before we move on?
I just want to say a huge thank you to you for having me back on. There's one more thing where if they wanted to, I did another little pricing thing this week on Flirty Fleurs with how to price garlands and greenery. So you could head over to Flirty Fleurs blog and check that out. I love the rose study. I'm so excited about that, by the way. I was complimenting you on your website, on your Facebook page about it. It is so cool that we get to see all those roses together. Like,
I'm excited. Yeah. So just in case you guys don't know, we're doing a rose study with Flirty Fleurs on all of the brownish types of roses, all the really hard to get ones pretty much.
And it's amazing to see them side by side though, you know, like to be like, oh, look, it was Alicia's Instagram has a video and it was really, really cool to get to see it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. I just wanted to say thank you. You can check out that extra pricing stuff. Check out my website at realflowerbusiness.com. And for the month of April's my birthday month, and I always give 10% of my sales to charities. So I'm doing that this month as well. So if you buy a course, you'll be supporting the Vermont Food Bank and a diaper drive up here and Charity Water. So that's really what I'm up to. And one more thing, I have a new freebie that I'm going to be releasing at the end of this month as well, like a little bit of a guide on like everything I wish I knew before I started my floral design business. So
amazing.
I hope people will like it.
Cool. And then I know you mentioned earlier before the show started that you have a new blog post out there. It's called 10 Questions Every Florist Should Answer. So yeah, go and visit that. We'll put it in the comments, but yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's April, it's the second quarter. So this is where, you know, that business mind has to flip on. You know, you just finished your first 3 months of business. It's your second quarter. So my hope is that you'll answer these questions and just get a little focus for yourself on like, where are you heading for the rest of this year in your business? You know, keep your eye, you know, you can't improve what you don't measure. So keeping goals in writing and staying focused on where you want to go, but also acknowledging where you've been. What are you good at? What do your customers thank you for? Like, what is your strength? You know, that's something you got to always answer for yourself every year. Good.
And then last but not least, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
When is your birthday exactly?
It's April 24th. So I still got a few more days to hold on to 40.
I'm heading to 40 here soon. So yeah.
I dig it. I think 40 is cool. I dig it. It's sort of like, you know, that, are you aspiring or experienced? It's like, I'm experienced and aspiring, you know?
Right. Yes. I love it. Well, happy birthday. I hope it's an amazing month. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Alison.
My honor to be here. Thanks for having me. Keep doing beautiful work, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day, Alison.
You as well. Bye.
All right, guys. That's a wrap on our April 2nd Mornings with Mayesh with Alison Ellis, answering all your pricing questions. I hope you enjoyed it. It seems like you did from just the comments that I'm reading here. Thank you so much for joining us and making this show special. Again, we wouldn't be anything without you guys. This is a audience-driven, community-driven labor of love for me. And I love you guys. If you don't know that already, I do. I love you. So keep on sending in that love. Keep on sending in your flower questions. We are going to be creating another show here on April 16th with Dave and Shelley. I have a lot of questions already, but just keep on sending them in and I will be adding them to our question bank for future shows. And that's it. That's a wrap, guys. April 16th, I will see you back here. And with that, I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everyone.